there are many things that you can do as a rider to prevent accidents. Motorcycles were little death traps, the equivalent of playing Russian roulette with your life. Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to have a little bit of a talk. This is especially for you if you are a 40 plus and above rider, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, 100, whatever age you are, and especially if you started riding at middle age or after 40. Why I'm doing this is because, oh goodness, the road is blocked here. Normally I would go that way, but I can't. Uh-oh. Ha. Okay, so we're gonna go this way. They are paving the roads or doing road work, so we will go on this little detour here. So back to the topic. One of the things I hear spoken about a lot is how when people start riding after 40 and they realize how much fun and it is, how enjoyable it is, how exhilarating it can even be, that they say things like, I wish I would have started much earlier. And that's something I've heard several times. And that's because when you're older, you're not as young and you can be more injury prone, and how many years you have left to enjoy something can be part of the consideration. But I feel a bit differently, that it is true that I don't have as many years to enjoy motorcycle riding as if I would have started when I was maybe in my 20s or even 30s. I am happy that I started. I'm very happy that I started in my 40s instead of earlier. And I'm going to give you a few reasons why, and some of these may even apply to you. Maybe you will feel better after I share some of these concerns with you. So one of the reasons why I am glad that I started in my 40s and not earlier is because when you're younger, you have your risk awareness is not as developed. Also, a lot of times younger people tend to be more susceptible to ego and peer pressure. You tend to mellow out with age. And I'm not saying that older people or even myself is not prone to be risky. I am an adventurous type of person just normally. So, and I was much more so when I was younger. So I have mellowed out from how I used to be, even if I am kind of more willing to take calculated risk and adventure even now. But I feel like if I would have started earlier, that lesser developed part of myself might have caused me problems. I might have did things that were a bit more risky, that could have put myself in danger. And when you're riding a motorcycle, the last thing you want to do is be stupid on a motorcycle and take unnecessary risks because you don't have really good risk awareness. You don't really know how to size up situations. You just kind of have this gun it and go mentality. You don't really have as much safety consciousness. And I am glad that I didn't start. And then on top of that, when you get older, you are less prone to wanting to impress people. Again, I would never say not at all, because older people can still want to keep up with the Joneses or do certain things if they see someone else doing it. But it's a less so as you get older. If I'm riding my motorcycle, I'm not sitting here trying to compare myself to the next person as much. I am a naturally competitive person, but say if someone is going a bit fast, maybe when I'm younger, I may want to keep up with them. They're taking curves and I don't know how to take a curve well, or I'm going too fast and I end up hurting myself. So, or I end up getting into buying things I don't need to buy because, so-and-so has it and I want to look good too. And that just doesn't exist as much. It kind of goes down when you're older. You kind of know what you want to do and you kind of do your own thing. So I'm glad that I didn't have that pressure. Because in my 40s, I don't feel that kind of pressure like I may have when I was younger. So that has reduced. And then the other thing is when you're older, many older people compared to younger people tend to be more financially stable. And they have more financial security, which means when they do start motorcycling, they can do it right and enjoy it in ways that maybe when they were younger and more broke, they wouldn't be able to do. So regarding doing it right, what do I mean by that? What I mean is motorcycling is dangerous, as we know, and you want to be able to do it right in what sense? For example, having appropriate motorcycle gear. When you're younger and you have less funds, you may, and of course you feel with the whole wrist thing, a sense of invincibility. You might not wear all the gear all the time, or the gear that you do buy, you're going to buy what you can. You may be more susceptible to putting more on the bike and less on gear, like, oh, let me get a nice bike, and I'm not going to maybe put into having a good helmet or good gloves or boots or other kinds of motorcycle gear, because and part of that could be the financial component. And when you're older, you can take your time, research, or more older people are in a better position to buy the gear that they really want, that they will feel more protective in. Certain things like getting training. I'm not just relying on my friend at the local bar or one guy I know in the neighborhood with a bike to teach me anything. People who are older, who have a little bit more discretionary income, they can afford to take certain classes to improve their riding. And being a more educated rider, having an instructor correct errors that you're making could be the difference between injured or not injured, or even life and death. So I really value the ability to take classes. I feel like when I was younger, I'm not saying I wouldn't have been able to financially do it personally, but I know that in general, there are young people who may struggle with having the finances to take the classes they need to be a safer rider and more skilled rider. So it's not just gear, it's not just safety courses, but also the upkeep of your motorcycle. Someone can drop all this money, they save up money for the motorcycle, don't have as much left over for gear, and definitely don't have enough left over to do all of the required maintenance on the oil changes and the different, I don't know, there's just so many different maintenance things you have to take care of on a bike. It's on two wheels, and you don't really want to skimp on that. But when you're younger, you may let things just kind of slide a little bit longer, because, and especially in Western countries, first of all, parts can be insanely expensive. I'm thankful for being here in Africa, where parts are way cheaper, at least for this bike that I'm riding right here, compared to a bike in the US. If it's not like something that's like really making it difficult to ride, you may be more likely to let it slide because of finances. Maybe young people, they aren't financially stable enough to really be able to do the upkeep in a proper way, and your motorcycle needs to be upkeep properly. This area right here is a little bit more bumpy, so I'm a little bit hesitating more, the road condition here. Oh man, that was kind of difficult. Let me just get through this patch right here. Oh boy, that was a hole I wasn't expecting. Oh, all right. Here we go. And then regarding enjoyment, I see a lot of older people that will go on excursions and trips and things of that sort. And again, because they do have more financial stability, and for if they're retired, they have time as well. But being able to enjoy and do little things more because you tend to be, again, more financially stable. So the other reason why I'm glad is because that I started later is just because I have more life experience in general, particularly in reading situations. If I started in my 20s, not been driving a car that long, but the decades of experience I've had driving a car, I could translate that over to a bike. Some of the instincts and senses that I have from riding a car for all these years, I'm able to transfer a lot of that over into riding a bike. If I was, for example, just getting used to traffic in a car, and then at the same time, something that's a lot more demanding, riding something that is a lot more demanding like a motorcycle, it would be a bit more difficult for me than it would be now. Like now, for me to drive a car, it's like I could do it almost in my sleep. I mean, not exactly, but you know what I mean. When I started riding a motorcycle, I could just focus on what I needed to operate the motorcycle itself. And also just in certain situations, when you're older, you just kind of have more of when something's not right, when something's wrong, maybe you need to stop. You kind of have more of that sense. And so I appreciate being able to have that kind of experience. Oh man, very dusty. Trying to get past this truck. That's what makes it. Yeah, like I said, I do take risks even as I'm older, but it's a lot less than when I was younger. And then I would say the last reason why I am happy that I started later is that I believe that some things in life are not for you, or they're not for you at the time, at certain times. I don't know if I would have, in my more younger, more how shall I say, less experienced self, more risk-taking self, if I would have started earlier, I don't know what would have happened to me. Would I have crazy injuries today that I got from being stupid? Would I not even be here today if I would have started riding earlier? The environment that I'm in now is more suitable for me because riding in Africa is different than riding in the U.S. and for my particular use case. So I did talk about why I like being in riding in Africa. You can see the link above. But I felt, whereas if I maybe would have started where I used to live, maybe that would have been a good place for me to start, riding a motorcycle. So, or something could have happened, or an accident could have happened, or anything could have happened. I'm not saying that automatically if I would have started younger, something, or if you would have started younger, something bad would have happened to you, but I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm glad, I'm okay. If it wasn't for me then, it wasn't for me then, and I'm happy to enjoy the life that I have now, safe and strong, because you just never know when something didn't happen in a certain time, and you just don't really know what would have been the downstream effects of that. And so I'm happy that things worked out the way it is because I'm happy, and I don't know if I would have been happy if I would have started riding a motorcycle earlier. When I was younger, I didn't start riding when I was younger because at that time, in my mind, motorcycles were little death traps. And I just figured it was the equivalent of playing Russian roulette with your life. Just take a gun, put a bullet in, and spin, and let it loose. And I didn't know that, just from research, is that it's true that riding a motorcycle is definitely is a lot more dangerous, but there are a lot of factors that affect that are in the control of the motorcycle rider. There's always going to be something that can happen that there's nothing you're going to be able to do. You could be the best motorcycle rider with the best training, with the best gear and the best motorcycle, and it's not going to work out for you. Also, there are many things that you can do as a rider to prevent accidents, and there are many videos you can watch online that talk about that. Things like time of day you ride, whether you're under the influence or not. People may think, okay, I drink a few beers and I'm fine. Well, just with a car, that can really cause a problem for you, and much more so on something dangerous like a motorcycle. Also, high speeds can cause a lot of it. People not wearing gear, not wearing helmets. The age of the person, because young people tend to take more risks. There are so many things that go into many motorcycle accidents. Lack of training. People are pushing a motorcycle beyond their abilities or beyond their training. There are so many things that you can do to greatly lower the risk. I've understood that now, and I understand that riding a motorcycle is not like this automatic end of the world sort of thing. There are a lot of things that are under your control riding a motorcycle. Having that fear at my younger age could have prevented me from a much worse outcome, potentially. I mean, I don't know, but it's possible. So I'll just leave it at that. My name is Asha. I'm an American that started riding a motorcycle here in Africa. If you would like to follow my journey, where I show you my different adventures and how I do still get into trouble, even at my age, riding a motorcycle in Africa, and also things like I learned how to wrench on bikes, so I do videos where I will show little repairs and maintenance. I plan on doing gear reviews, mod reviews, different things like that. And if you would like to see more of my adventure as a middle-aged woman learning how to ride in Africa, would you do me a favor? Please give me a subscribe. It would mean the world to me if you've made it this far in the video. And until next time, for everyone, especially my 40+ riders, stay safe and keep the rubber side down.